From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. U.S. President Donald Trump is continuing to add to his growing list of tariff targets. The latest industry that has drawn his ire is imported automobiles. Trump says he'll launch the automobiles duties effective around April 2nd. In response, Rebecca Bly, president of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, says Canada will need to take an all-hands-on-deck approach if we are to successfully navigate these new rough waters. Meanwhile, it's day 2 at the Munich Security Conference. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz shot back this morning in defense of his stance against the far right, saying his country will not accept people who intervene in our democracy. His comments were in response to U.S. President J.D. Vance's scolding of European leaders yesterday and their approach to democracy. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the time has come for the creation of an armed forces of Europe and says his country's fight against Russia has proved that a foundation for it already exists. Hamas has released 3 men held hostage in Gaza as part of the ongoing ceasefire deal. The wife of one of the men says for the past month her daughters have been asking her, "Is Daddy coming home today?" American-Israeli Siggy Dekel-Chen's wife, Avital, told Israeli media that she was overwhelmed with happiness to see her husband, who will meet for the first time his youngest daughter who was born while he was in captivity. Over 300 Palestinian prisoners were also freed today as part of the deal. Atlantic Canada is going to see another round of nasty winter weather. High winds and blowing snow warnings have been issued for eastern Newfoundland. Northeasterly gusts could reach up to 110 kilometers per hour today amid a new layer of snow between 2 to 5 centimeters deep. Some areas of western Newfoundland and the coast of Labrador could see up to 60 centimeters of the white stuff. In Nova Scotia and PEI, snow, ice pellets, freezing rain, and strong winds are all expected by Sunday. South of the border, a storm system is brewing above the central U.S. states and making its way east. ABC meteorologist Lee Goldberg explains what's overhead for the next several hours.
The storm is taking shape over the middle of the country right now. We have winter weather alerts from the Midwest to the Northeast. Flood watches Pittsburgh to Little Rock, but it's not just flooding rain. It's a severe threat and enhanced risk for strong tornadoes, Louisiana to Alabama. That includes Jackson and Memphis.
Chicago to Detroit will see some light snow, with New York and Boston seeing the same later this afternoon. And finally, David Wilson and Jackie Ekholm dreamt of attending Winterlude and skating on the Rideau Canal after their last visit to Ottawa 9 years ago. When the Chicago couple saw on the news in January that the city's iconic skateway had been open to the public, they immediately booked their trip to Canada's capital. The Department of Canadian Heritage says Winterlude typically sees around 600,000 visitors each year over the 3 weekends. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Emma Woods fired home the eventual winner late in the second period as the surging Toronto Scepters earned a 3-1 win over the Boston Fleet. Toronto was in the basement in the 6-team Professional Women's Hockey League just 3 weeks ago, but now sits in third place. Over to the NBA's All-Star Weekend, San Antonio's Stephen Castle made the game-winning jump shot as Team C defeated Team T 40-34 in the first semifinal game of the Rising Stars competition. Toronto's Grady Dick led Team T with 12 points in the first to 40 points untimed format. The Canadian Women's Curling Championship got underway Friday with BC's Corinne Brown, Alberta's Kayla Skrillick, Saskatchewan's Nancy Martin, and defending champion Rachel Homan all getting wins. And Davis Thomas leads the Genesis Invitational after shooting a 66. Abbotsford, BC's Nick Taylor is the low Canadian, tied for 24th at 1 over. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.